All right. Welcome, everybody, to Burn After Watching. This is episode 1. We're talking about one of the shittiest turds to ever spread its wings and soar into outer space, Deep Impact.
This is our press play inauguration, right?
Well, this is called Burn After Watching.
Burn After Watching,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
That's
press
right.
play,
We
yeah.
did press play.
Yeah, we got a lot
I'm
of-
not with it.
No, we got a lot of
But
branding.
luckily, no one's watching right now. So
Cool. All right. So let's just get this started with the trailer for Deep Impact. The tagline was "Heaven and Earth are about to collide." So let's watch this.
Mr. Rittenhouse, Jenny Lerner, MSNBC. If we could just talk about Ellie.
He had a private phone line installed in his office.
Turn your camera off.
I think the president knows about it too.
Okay, Secretary of the Treasury resigns because of a mistress named Ellie.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
If she knows, how long can it be before CNN or the Post breaks the story?
Mr. President, I'm not interested in using Ellie to further my career.
What do you know about Ellie? Congratulations. You now have the biggest story in history.
Oh my God.
A few minutes ago, the United States ambassadors from every country in the world told the leaders of those nations what I'm about to tell you. Last summer, 2 comets were discovered that are on a collision course with Earth.
Oh my God.
The smaller comet will hit first,
We now have the details.
creating a tidal wave over 3.
Okay, honestly, this is way too long. You catch the drift. There's an asteroid coming and it's bad. Wow,
what's
I
great
can't
is
even
that
make it
they
through
they
the
even
trailer.
spend a lot of time highlighting the worst parts of the film.
God, they do. Like, and that's such that trailer epitomizes like some of the big problems with this movie. It's just like it just drags. The trailer does not. What's wrong with you if that gets you excited? All right, let's just talk about the box office at first. So this movie on a $75 million budget made $350 million. So it did well.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of, and we'll do this a lot. We'll compare it to the movie everybody's going to compare it to, which is Armageddon. And Armageddon was a $140 million budget, so twice, and you can tell, specifically in the special effects, and it made 553. So they both did about the same. I mean, they did pretty well. Armageddon made
Deep
more money.
Impact
They
did
spent more money.
remarkably well, considering the quality.
Yeah. So Heaven and Earth are about to collide. The movie was directed by Mimi Leder, who is honestly, she's had her filmography: Peacemaker, Deep Impact, something called Sentimental Journey, Pay It Forward, Thick as Thieves, and then she disappears for another 9 years and makes On the Basis of Sex, which is supposed to be a pretty good movie. Not like a real like Murderer's Row of great films right there, but she has directed she's been a pretty accomplished TV director. She did a bunch of The Leftovers. She did quite a few episodes of Shameless, ER, West Wing. So, China Beach, taking it way back, LA Law. So she's a really good TV director, but boy, this was a rough watch. All right. So I think the best way to kind of dissect this movie is some categories. So
Do you want to see if you can boil it down to like the shortest possible synopsis of this film?
yes,
I think this would be a fun exercise.
Go for it.
Presidential sex scandal turns into world-ending comet. Results in bizarre sacrifices by characters and many, many deaths.
Let's see, how would I sum it up? Frodo is faster than the Flash. I would say sex scandal rocks space with giant rock. There's something there with rock. I don't know. Mostly the whole thing, I would just say it's about a woman and her broken family. Like, a woman who is too old to be so completely torn up about her parents' divorce. Like, she basically, and this is what most of the movie about. The movie is not about asteroids. The movie is about
Comet.
Jenny Lerner.
Wolf Biederman. Comet.
Yeah, no, it's not about
we
Wolf Biederman.
hear that a lot.
No, Wolf Biederman. It's not about that. It's about Tia Leone's character. Just, she's got to be like 30, and she can't handle the fact that her parents are getting divorced.
Well, they've been divorced for some time.
Yeah, it looks like she had a really happy childhood. She's just being a shit.
I don't know that that's. It seems like maybe her dad wasn't around. Like maybe they split up when she was young, and maybe her dad wasn't around as much. Because they talk, there's like that. They spend a lot of time when like the climax of the film, the event is happening. They spend some time really getting into like when you were 5, we had a great day at the beach, and that's like the only real memory that seems to be discussed. So
yeah, I don't know. It's awful. The hero of the movie. This is why, in my opinion, the hero of the movie is the asteroid.
Yeah, thank goodness that happened. There's not much else happened.
I'm rooting for that asteroid.
I think it was Biederman. Was Biederman the small chunk that hit? Maybe?
Yes.
So we were thinking, the one named after Elijah Wood gets to be the one that does all the destruction.
Well, it opens up with some bit of ridiculousness.
Oh my!
The science, let's just start moving through the categories. I want to do the first one, and this is in no certain order. Did that just happen? My main did that just happen is keyboard guy. So when they find out the newsroom, which this continues like the late 80s, early 90s, or I guess 80s to 90s, just completely treat the media like dog crap in all movies, make them a villain, make them idiots. And very crass. It's not always off the mark. For some reason, when they're trying to get ready to show how they're going to broadcast about the asteroid, like with get me graphics and we need music. Their keyboard guy is in the middle of the newsroom with them, just like
with like the executive producer of the show,
yeah.
and he's like going or not like one of the producers, and he's telling him like what he wants, and the guy immediately plays it. You can hear it too. You're like, wow, he just nailed like these like random words that
and he says something like, "Give me somber, but with excitement." Like he gives him notes,
and he does. It's pretty.
He just bangs it out. It's amazing.
But like, why is this keyboard guy set up in the newsroom?
And he kind of nods a little. And he's got a grin on his face, and he reminds me of on the Chappelle Show. Do you remember the guy that would do the robot? He would just come into skits from time to time, just out of nowhere. He would just kind of come through like this. The skits. That's what. That's what keyboard guys like in Deep Impact.
It reminded me of a Rick and Morty thing where the character just kind of just randomly pops up.
Yes.
You're like, oh yeah. I mean, it's just it. When this was like in a moment where something dramatic, like significant, historical.
The president said pretty much for the first time, no, we're probably screwed. We got some cockamamie.
A world-ending comet is headed for
Yeah,
us, and so like let's get this keyboard right.
We got one ship. We're gonna try and deal with it with one nuke. Did that just?
And it's a real quick swell. Like I've seen this movie so many times, I've never noticed that.
Keyboard guy.
Yeah, which is pretty amazing.
It just was like it might as well have been in slow motion. I love keyboard guy. The whole movie. I actually have a different take on this movie about it, and keyboard guy is much more involved. Well, that's the dessert at the end of this. Car explosion. So at the start of the movie, there's an 18-wheeler. There's the guy who is he is just out, as one guy in science says, somehow this guy with basically really crappy equipment. Okay, Leo Biederman. I'm jumping ahead to a category, but it's important for this. So Frodo
is Leo Biederman.
Dr. Marcus Wolf gets sent this thing by Frodo.
Actually, the Rick, I think, was their science.
The Rick. Some people call me the Rick. Yeah, he was. He was like their
high school science teacher, and he facilitated a stargazing scene that I'm pretty sure was green screen, which maybe that's necessary.
It was weird.
I don't really understand why, but maybe it was necessary. That was just an odd thing.
With little Helen Hunt girl going, no.
This argument that went on like what it was, or like whether it was maybe a star, or like it went back and forth. It felt like 5 or 6 times.
The first 50 minutes of this movie is Frodo and little Helen Hunt girl arguing about what they just saw in the sky, and I'll be damned if I still know what the hell they were talking about. Neither
He's
one.
like, it's not.
It's
Like,
not.
It happened. I felt like they maybe were just rolling the same.
Was that
footage.
supposed to be sexual tension?
I mean, they're like 14,
Well,
so I hope not.
Kyle, they're married by the end of the movie and they're kissing. Okay, like
Well, they gave you the when I was a child. I thought like a child whole thing. So what do you want?
all that thing was missing was Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson trying to guess what phrases,
God.
what Bible passages they were going to read. Okay, so Leo Wolf, Marcus Wolf. I keep mashing. Who gives a
Well,
shit?
because then it's the Wolf Biederman thing.
The guy who's
Especially
in
what's
the
happening,
Untouchables and gets the accountant who gets blown away in the elevator. That's Marcus Wolf. And
he seems to be like running an observatory.
so as this guy says, the deeper problem though seems to be that if this is a scientist, that astronomers in this movie don't actually look at stars. This is remarkably clear when teen astronomer Leo Biederman spontaneously decides the field of view for his telescope is greater than 10 degrees. The distance covered by two fists held at arm's length, and manages to find Alpha Centauri, a star not visible in the northern hemisphere. It doesn't get any better when we switch to his doomed mentor, Dr. Marcus Wolf. By the time Wolf performs the world's fastest, tidiest orbital termination on virtually no data while munching on pizza before bolting off to make an instantaneous report on a comet that wouldn't arrive for over 2 years, I've already written him off as an alien from another dimension, utterly lacking in night vision rides.
So can we get before you get to when he rides off in urgency? The fact that they were so keen on letting us see him just manhandle this slice of pizza while operating with one hand, the keyboard, like all this very technical work he's doing was just. I really appreciated the amount of focus they gave to that.
Well, they missed out, like because these types of movies always do a lot of product placement. How that was not a Pizza Hut pizza or a Domino's pizza is how they let them.
Because that pizza was on screen almost as much as that actor was.
Oh, the pizza was delicious. Looked delicious.
I felt like I don't think he was, but I almost felt like he was still eating it in the car.
Oh no, we have our first comment. Josh Ellie, the first movie this was the first movie I rented on pay-per-view.
That's I mean, hey.
Sorry you can't get a refund.
At the time, this was a big deal.
So
it was very much a Deep Impact or Armageddon Camp, I feel. Well, I don't think anybody, I think everyone was in the Armageddon Camp, but people are like, I mean, clearly it did well at the box office and people like it. So, yeah.
So
I like that. That's
Marcus Wolf,
a tidbit there, Josh.
he gets his information and he's tearing down the highway, and
he's texting as well, or like I can't. He was messing around with his Nokia.
Well, the 18-wheeler is actually messing around a lot. He dropped something. The 18-wheeler driver, who is the same guy if you've ever seen Draft Day, who shits all over the quarterback, who's like, ask me why no one came to his birthday party. Ask me. Coster's like, why? And he's like, it was raining. It was really nothing. Anyway, so the little wolf guy, our scientist, careens off the ditch, and it's like Simpsons universe rules.
It actually,
that car explodes the second it touches down on ground.
It's weird. It actually goes into fireball while it's rolling down.
Yes.
Like it didn't even wait till like finish and wait for the comical No, it was just roll, first impact with rock, and then explosion. And like full fireball, not like a little flame, which is I would assume more likely. No, like the whole thing erupts.
It was like when Homer Simpson, like when he was driving that tractor and it went doom. Like everything bursts into flames in Simpsons, and this movie was no different.
And I think there's an element that epitomizes this film where I thought to myself when you're watching, like, is he dead?
Yeah, right. I was like, he might make it. By the way, in my sequel to this movie or my different portrayal, he is not dead. But we'll get to that.
He comes back at the end like scarred up. Like, yes. I've got some information.
All right, so did that just happen? Keyboard guy, car explosion. Did you have anything else under did that just happen, or do you want to go on?
Okay, so Jenny is digging into this sex scandal, which goes
Tia
on.
Leone is Jenny.
Lord have mercy, that plot went on so long.
Which plot?
Digging into like thinking it's a sex scandal with someone named Ellie. I'm like, oh my god, y'all are just like, why are we doing this? Like, we know the movie is called Deep Impact. We know that the government is probably hiding a common impact because we came to the movie. Oh, okay. So anyway, So she's digging in, and I don't remember. I think this is before the president of the United States confronts her in a kitchen.
Did you know that's the kitchen where Bobby Kennedy was assassinated? And they decided
I guess that's kind of like a fun thing they wanted to throw in there. I
Weird.
didn't know that. So anyway, she's digging. She goes to like there's someone who resigned from his cabinet, and so she's
it's a Babe the Pig actor.
she pings him and I can't remember if she speaks to someone else, but basically she's just driving down the road, and all of a sudden, like 3 or 4 SUVs come and force her off the road and pull her over, and then just forcibly pull her into their car, and like I don't think they arrest. And then it turns out I think they're the FBI, and I'm like, wow, I think the FBI can like
the FBI.
Damn, we're doing this now. Like they just forced her up the road and kidnapped her,
took her to Morgan. Yeah.
So that was pretty crazy. I was like, well, that's maybe not exactly how that would go, but they might just come to her. But
no, all right. So what's ridiculous about that's a good one that just happened. The fact that that they continue to have this miscommunication. She confronts the cabinet member. She confronts the president for
even during this conversation.
All of our conversations. How you could continue to have a conversation and not realize that one of you is talking about something completely different.
Yeah, the conversation ends with her still not know with the president. And like they could talk about all these implications and like, oh man, I told you we wouldn't be. They're like saying all these things that indicate there's clearly something bigger at work. And the conversation ends with her still not knowing.
He's like, the universe may be destroyed. And she's like herpes? Like it's just not connecting at all.
Playing with a Yankee? But no, and it's the only thing that comes out of that is he corrects her when she says Ellie, and he says the ELE. You're like, oh,
she still doesn't get it when he corrects her.
But like that's the thing, and that's going to be
But she doesn't get it.
No, she still doesn't pick up on
when he literally says, why is she like Monica Lewinsky was not like ML? Like what are you not getting?
Yeah.
She's awful.
Amazingly though, that leads to my next. Did that just happen? Maybe this doesn't belong in this category, but. So still not understanding what's happening, she then takes that suddenly, and back in the days of like Excite or Lyco search engines, like starts with, you know what, maybe I'll search for ELE.
Yeah.
And then she like within 3 clicks is at extinction level event, asteroid hitting the earth, killing the dinosaurs. And like, so sudden, and I'm sitting there watching that thing and you've got to be, I mean, she goes to this, like a university website.
Yeah.
And then that leads into something. And there's like this huge, back in the days when all you saw were just links on pages, this huge list of links and just scrolls all the way to the bottom, like just, why? We don't know. It's like, oh, yes, it must be this thing down here at the bottom. And it's wild. Like the simplicity with which she navigates to this very specific information that still doesn't like, it's at least that way. Like I feel like at least we're at that point. We're on a thread, but I think we're like 45 minutes.
Let me ask you this: if she's searching, why does she? If she apparently is a good Googler in 1999.
Think about this. This would be before most people were really using Google, like for everything.
Yeah, I think this was 99. This movie,
like Google was around, but it wasn't. People probably still use web crawler and. Go get it, Lycos. I mean, like, this is still, you sign up for AOL Submit, you were like searching from everything from your AOL homepage.
If she's internet searching, why does she never search for ELE and the name of that cabinet member?
You would think she actually would she should, like, that's my point, like, she still should have been tracking on the original thing, which is like sex scandal with that, like.
What's fascinating is, with this sex scandal, she goes in and confronts this cabinet member in front of it with his daughter on a boat dock. And she's like, sex! And with his 9-10-year-old daughter. And she never once tries to find out who Ellie is. None. And I don't know what the mole woman was tipping her. I mean, anyway, it's brutal.
That was like the president. I think that's what led her to know, oh, the president's in on this.
Yes. Yeah, I'm working on
that. Was in the trailer. Amazingly, that part made it in the trailer. It's
bad. Okay. At 3.5
we're like 45 minutes in the movie. By the time she realizes, wait a minute, maybe this isn't a sex scandal.
We're 45 minutes in, and we'll still be another. The next exciting thing you'll see with the astronauts is a barbecue.
Yes, very sad.
yeah, Josh. That should have been the tagline from Josh Early for Deep Impact. Yes, very sad. Okay, let's move on to questionable questions if you're good.
Yeah, because I feel like that's actually the point where we start to move away from Jenny. Because then you move into the reveal of the event, and then you get to meet The NASA crew.
The NASA crew.
So we'll go to your
whatever.
let's stick with the categories. I like it.
Oh, okay. Casual Friday on the ship cracked me up. So they're wearing their uniforms for a minute, but I swear to God, the next time you look up, it looks like they all just left like the clubhouse after finishing like 9 holes, maybe. They're wearing their polos and their khakis, and it just looks ridiculous. Like they're on a mission to save the Earth, and instead of just consistently staying in some cool stuff, they're like wearing Dockers.
Some
and
are
shit.
wearing like fleece hoodies, and some are
Yeah.
just in like just very random, different clothing. And then like, I mean, granted, there's some time passage certainly since they're traveling through space, but the next scene they're all wearing the same NASA polo.
It's absurd.
They just they wanted to express themselves.
I have a
little bit.
question. Okay, here's another one.
After launch.
After launch, well, they want to get comfortable. What distance did Elijah Wood have to travel to go back to his hometown from Missouri, and is this possible? Because he gets on the
I
bus.
think they were in Virginia, or
I think
that
so.
can't be possible.
So listen to this. No, wait. So he is in Missouri. He is at the
It
gates
was in the
of
soft,
the
soft limestone of Missouri.
Yeah, that's right. He's ready to go in, and he's like, you know what? After coming all this way, now I've decided I'm going back, which
But,
blows my mind.
Like,
Did he
getting
wait?
on, why didn't you just not get on the bus at the moment when they're like, no, they can't go.
Right.
She and her family can't go. Yeah.
And even more, if you're his parents and he still is legally your child, why are you? When he's like, I've got to go back,
let him
like
go.
to what end?
He had to do this.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Like, why would they let him leave? So Elijah Wood, he gets all the way to Missouri, peace out. Somehow, in a matter of like 20 minutes, he's back to, it looked like Virginia.
It had to have been like 5 days. I mean, it had to have been days.
You know what, Kyle? I'm going to have to assume that
Because he had to like hitchhike.
he had to be in
basically.
Missouri.
He had to like hitchhike at best to get there. He didn't have a vehicle.
Wait a minute. No.
They came in on a bus.
He went all the way back to his home and got that motorcycle.
Yes.
So, all right. So anyway, he teleported, I guess. Just ridiculous.
He was hitching.
He was hitching. But even hitching, like it must have been hitching on like a jet rocket ship or something.
Well, the days did pass. They did a terrible job of communicating.
It
that.
didn't feel like it, did
But
it?
they talked about how at one point when they were doing that, they're like, I think they had mentioned somehow very vaguely that there were days until impact.
Yeah.
So like they just did such a terrible job of making it very clear of like, oh, well, we're this many days from impact. And because then he gets back basically hours before impact. So that's when I was like, I guess a couple days have passed, which is still amazing with no reliable transportation
Yeah,
to
it
make
is.
that trip that fast
And then he hauls ass on that motorcycle, which is
into a
extremely
sea
impressive.
of people.
Oh,
on
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Here we go. Why did they send one ship and plant one bomb if you've been working on this for a year to 2 years? Your plan is one ship and one bomb.
I mean, yeah, you got to probably work with like every space agency on the planet. And, like we're all sending a ship.
Yeah.
Every one of us is sending a ship.
So,
I mean, at least again, Armageddon, like we send 2. Like we always have backup. So
all right. So at one point, the
Oh,
new
no.
astronauts like basically confront Robert Duvall and tell him he's only there for marketing. And I thought we were gonna have like a cool
very
Roadhouse
Mean
moment.
Girls kind of thing.
It was
like,
very
at a
Mean
bar.
Girls. Like, they're the
he's like
plastics.
sitting over away, and he tries to come up, and they're just a bunch of dicks.
They're a bunch of dicks. And what's funny is it ends with him going, all right, I know he's doing his Duvall. I know y'all don't like me here, but let's figure it out. Cut scene. We never come back. We never get any resolution. We
It's
don't.
like, okay, so they don't want him here.
And then it's like they're cool on the ship. Like when did they get together? Like did they all just do shots and get ripped and figure this out? Did they watch The Godfather? Like you were amazing. Like what did they do? Like it makes no sense. Don't make no sense. So another one. What the hell is the timeline in this movie? I am lost. They talk about years and months and then
Well, because the opening scene, that guy dies, and I think it's a considerable amount of time because I think that's kind of the point. It's supposed to be, oh, well, although it's not really if we had known sooner. I mean, I'm not sure what else they could have done still, but we were behind the 8 ball, I guess, because the information didn't get out.
I guess, but I feel like that asteroid is right beside Earth for like most of the movie, and it's like the slowest chase scene next to Star Wars: The Last Jedi, which was the worst chase scene in the history of chase scenes, where it's literally just two things going. So like the asteroid's there, like let's get it on, but it just drags on. How did any building in DC survive? This is completely impossible. This makes no sense. At the end of the movie, he is standing in front of the Capitol.
No, they're rebuilding it. Now, granted,
it looks like they're repairing it
quickly.
It looks like they're repairing it because there's parts missing still.
Yeah.
So that wave, I did some research.
See, what's
on
interesting?
it.
Well, they give you metrics on like speed, like velocity, and height.
I did a little research.
There would have been nothing left.
It would have been just
cleared
grass,
mud. Yeah.
Mud. That's all it would have been. They could not have rebuilt that in 10 years.
Well, see, I think what's interesting is you bring a good point. I think they were trying to indicate that they had already started to rebuild that quickly. Yeah. But you're thinking like there's no way.
And like, okay, here's what's hilarious.
So maybe like a decade had passed.
All these people are gathered as well to cheer on this president whose plan was, we'll save about 1 million of you, maybe
200,000.
Yeah. What? Yeah. And,
a lottery. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Hang on. About to get to that. But like, they're gonna hate this guy. Like, you just basically said, to hell with all of y'all. We're saving 1 million. What is the U.S. population?
Like 400 million. Roughly?
400 million.
300 something million.
Probably. So like, he's not going to be able to come out in public. He's going to be lucky if they don't kill him.
He basically says, "Good luck." I mean, he's like, "Well,
good
night.
Happening. Good luck. I got to get to Missouri." So the other thing that's similar to that is,
unlike Danny Glover in 2012, he does not go down with the shit.
No, he does not. He's like, I get out of here, man. But there'd be looting. Like, that's the other thing is all the military, like, it would be a nightmare. And then after, God, can you imagine the repercussions after if the government said we're sacrificing 99% of the population?
Well, especially if
they're like, whoopsie.
Especially when they just are over in Missouri, like the East Coast would turn into like a post-apocalyptic war zone. Yeah. I mean, it would be like tribal, and it would be like, there's many scenarios of like TV shows and movies where you've seen it.
It would be like the Rick and Morty episode, the Mad Max episode, where it was like, don't touch the boom booms.
Yes. Yeah.
With the happies. So similar to this, why would you pick two? You can only save 1 million people in this country. So let's just posit that is going to be acceptable. And I guess let's just assume the asteroid's hit and everybody dies. So you've got to pick 1 million. Why would you do 200,000 even why would you even do that many at random?
I think part of the issue is,
I'm bringing the experts, doctors. Like, I'm not bringing any random dude.
I do kind of enjoy this movie in a weird way. But I will say, so at the time when all the plans were made, and even up until the very, very end, they thought this was one big comet that was going to basically kill all life on the planet. Right. And they were certain it was going to hit that. Sure. Everything had failed. So you had a world-ending comet. So the only reason that didn't happen is because the astronauts did the sacrifice move and split off a chunk.
Yeah.
Or no, their mission split off a chunk. And so you had 2 death comets coming. They couldn't stop the small one, but they did kill the big one. So like they didn't know that like only half of America was basically going to get wiped out.
Yeah, this is right to my point.
It's almost kind of messed up. Like they were planning on, well, everybody's going to get wiped out, so we can just hang out in these caves.
Well, what I'm saying, like, I don't understand. If that's what you assume is going to happen, then why the hell are you bringing any random people at all? Like, instead of that 200,000 randos, I want 200,000 brilliant. Give me more of the brilliant people. Like, nobody is getting in this thing. Because look, here's the other thing. It's secure. We'll get to that in a second. It's not. But like, if I'm only bringing in 1 million, like, there's not going to be a lottery. Like, it's not going to be like, Joe, who is really good at selling windows to people, you won the lottery. Like, the hell with that. Like, give me another heart surgeon.
Because it's probably not going to matter anyway. Like,
no.
In terms of like trying to do the right thing and like do a lottery, like, look, man, if you think a comet's coming that's going to blanket the planet and
you're worried about preserving like the species, like you're not just letting in Sally, who's got a hell of an Etsy shop selling like embroidered oven mitts with cats. Like, we don't need her. Like, we're good. We don't need any rando. So I thought that was ridiculous. Okay. The crowd outside the shelter. At this point, the entire American population knows that they're screwed if they don't get into this thing.
Yeah.
Most likely. And there's like just a smattering of protesters and people. Here we go.
It's like a few people. Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple dozen just protesting.
This is outrageous. Why is it never been so proud?
They're both losers.
This is what would have happened.
There it is.
That is exactly what you're seeing. This is how it would have gone. It would not have just been some protesters hanging outside Missouri and just kind of hanging back because there's not a lot of military presence. If you look,
No. Well, it just
There
felt
can't
to
be
me
more than
like
100
they
troops,
couldn't
right?
really muster like a large crowd of extras. So they
right?
just go,
Exactly. I'm telling you, he never is going to reveal the location.
Well, then
of that
like these
place.
hillsides that lead behind it down to the gate.
Yeah.
So like people would have been, it would have been like something at World War Z, like people going down.
Yes.
It's pretty wild. So
yeah, it would have been just a giant armed militia taking that place over. How much older? Oh, sorry. So there's Beth, who we can assume for some is like Jenny's boss. Like Beth is like the main White House reporter for this TV station, and Jenny, I guess, is like her assistant that's supposed to do research and blah blah blah. But it feels weird to me because how much older is Beth really than Jenny?
I mean, it seems to be like at least 10 years, maybe.
She doesn't look
She
much
doesn't
older.
look it,
She doesn't
no.
look any older than her. So I think this is just a really weird thing. I just think it's weird that Jenny's like this really like low level assistant to her. Unless she just like, did she just like come into this career like late? Like, did she used to be like, did she work at TMZ and that's why she's all into sex scandals? Like, is she the same character from Bad Boys 1? And so she just screwed around for too long and then decided to get into this. I don't know, but I don't know. It was a strange thing. We don't have to give it a lot of airtime. I don't know what I meant by this. Does everyone get a network show? Do you have any idea what I would have meant?
I don't. I don't recall.
Jenny Lerner gets her own network show, basically doing the coverage really quick. But I don't know. Maybe I was. Who knows? We'll skip that one. All right, next category, bottom of the barrel. So this is just the worst shit from this movie. Like just to scrape it out of the bottom, just the most garbage stuff. The father's reaction for me, this may be the worst thing. Jenny's, I guess, her father, her estranged father, his reaction. So Jenny she was given entry into Missouri's caves to survive. She has become an instant sensation with the public for her coverage. She appears to be young, healthy, and yet she shows up. Uh-oh, that's right, buddy. That's
Yeah.
right.
Getting them.
She shows up to... He's wild. She shows
Wild
up to
animal.
die with her father. She shows up to the beach.
And he is just not just like, oh, hey.
His reaction, he's like, oh, cool. We'll die
He literally
together.
just turns and starts talking like, I expected you to be here because it's scripted.
She's like, I stole $5 from you when I was 11. And he's like,
Oh,
I dropped you when you were a baby. What he should have been like is, what the hell are you doing?
why are you here? We're about to die.
We're going to die. This is the last place you should be. He's depressed because his trophy wife left him. Still a bit much for suicide, but like, she just decides. I mean, she
gave up a sure way out of
Sure way
survival.
to
Which-
Beth, who we all hate, and her stupid little kid.
She had the right, and she like grabs the kid. She should have just grabbed the kid and gotten on
Grab
the
the
chopper.
kid. Bye, Beth. Now she's taken everything from her.
Yes.
I took your job. I took a kid. Dougray Scott and I are probably a thing. So, and we're getting on this helicopter. Anyway, I no parent would ever just be like, cool, I'm so glad you're here to die with me.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was fine though.
No problem. He just had a little funny anecdote about dropping her when she was a baby. Why
Why
not?
not? Yeah.
Well, everyone who reacted to Jenny Lerner, specifically when she is asking, so she's asking Morgan Freeman the questions.
They didn't know that she basically found a way to get like prime seating
They
and
didn't
like
know.
first question in the big announcement from the
They
president.
didn't know. But the best is the Trisha Takanawa character is like Jenny
Well, I
Lerner.
think she's like Australian, but it almost sounds like German, like Jenny Van. Like it's really bizarre.
Jenny Vanna? Yeah,
But
it's
I
weird,
see
dude.
that's
Weird.
cool, and then they pan to a guy.
Oh, angry guy. He's in it a few
Son
times.
of a bitch.
Son of a bitch. And later on, when
Why are you so mad?
he's drawing straws, he's
That
like,
figures.
that figures, and he slings his straw down. He's just angry the whole time. But it was just strange. Like, y'all know she's like in the news business. You work with her. Like this, like I'd be like, a normal line is probably like, how'd you get that job? But they just look like she just won an Academy Award and they didn't even know she was an actress. So it's wild. The forced broken family storyline. We've talked about that. Let us not also forget her mom kills herself in this movie.
And
The whole family kills itself.
I remembered it being like right before but it wasn't. It was a good bit before the
Yeah,
impact.
she got all dressed up. I'm looking for something in red. And she gets all dressed up, and I guess she takes a bunch of pills.
Yeah.
And says, peace out. Which, again, this movie wanted to be like Terms of Endearment, I think. And I swear to God, I don't think the writers wanted to make a space movie. Because it doesn't feel very important.
Oh, it's very until their hapless adventure on the comet. It's not.
Those are the worst astronauts ever. They blow poor
Happy
John
Hogan gets shot off into space.
He's out. They're like, we got to save him. Duvall's like, no, he was the one in the bar that hated me the most. He dies. They're like, are you sure we can get
dipshit McGee Commander's like just freewheeling, just rolling around without his visor? I mean, so like you knew it was coming when they're talking about like, oh man, when the sun comes up, it's gonna be
somebody's getting. No one is not getting blinded.
Yeah, and it's
he is full Ron Burgundy and Anchorman too. I'm blind. Oh, which is like none of them asked, dude. Why didn't you have your visor on?
Why didn't you just put your visor down?
Why didn't you put your visor on? Like this bunch of astronauts, man, it's crazy. So yeah,
he like goes down like so their little Roto-Rooter machine, which is compared to like what you see. Again, it's all fiction, but like this little doodad, you just stick it in there and it just digs its way in.
It looks like one of those little tillers that you just kind of push along. Like, are y'all planting grass? Or are you trying to blow up this asteroid? Like, what are you doing?
It's just insane.
Well, then Homeboy Dobbs,
he goes down in there.
And
he's kicking. He's stomping.
Okay.
He's like, he's just giving it the business, like jumping up and
Check
down.
this shit. So this drill is down in this asteroid and has hit something that has stopped it dead.
It's like
in
it was
its
like
tracks.
a cavernous area, so I guess it like hit some like a space that like opened up and it just kind of like got stuck.
So in what universe does a dude who's maybe 6 feet, 180 pounds, stomping on it,
way like hundreds of feet down in a hole in a comet that is very unstable, by the way.
how does that push it over the edge? How does that get it
How does
going?
it get
again?
it? You're like, it didn't really like he's like hitting it and then it just starts drilling. You're like, well, okay.
This fucking drill that can drill like through diamond is stuck. And he goes down there because he's not Harry Stamper.
God.
What's his last name? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, good.
I'll go no
I'll
quit.
go no quit. Harry Stamper. Oh, I'm good. So anyway, like that's just ridiculous. But I don't know how I got into that one because that wasn't even on my
It's
list.
just how
but-
the sequence of events is just insane.
Dude, why didn't you put on your visor?
What's
man?
great is they spent so little time on that part of the like Armageddon. That's a lot of the movie is them on like with the hell that is trying to dig. But it's like just boom boom. We're going in. We're drilling. We're jumping up down the drill. And we're back. We're blinded. We're flying out.
Dude's like, oh look, the sun. I mean, like, put your visor on? Nobody says anything to him. In fact, Robert Duvall starts
the other guys
reading Moby Dick to
click
him.
theirs down.
Yeah. Like anybody
I don't
would.
know. I don't know. Like he's down in this hole. Maybe they come. I don't know.
Don't you
like,
dare.
Who cares? It's kind of like who gives a shit.
I
Like
don't care. I don't like that guy anyway.
don't either.
So Bomb of the special effects are bad in this movie. You know what?
Oh, I mean the asteroid looks like a cartoon
Did
painted
you-
on the screen,
All
or
right.
the comet. Sorry, yeah, I keep.
You may remember this skit, and I don't know if the viewers out there. There was a skit called Toonces the Driving Cat on Saturday Night Live,
He got to.
and the special effects were intentionally bad. And it was this cat, and it was always the same crash. Every skit they
Yeah.
used the exact same B-roll footage for stock footage for a crash. All I could think about watching that asteroid, it looked like somebody
Head on a stick.
had it on a popsicle
Like-
stick. I was like, "Am I in the frame?" You know, like it was awful. It looked like shit.
And these movies, this and Armageddon, they came out at the same time.
It's the same year. So it's not like technically they couldn't pull it
Now,
off.
granted, they did spend half the money
They did spend half the money.
making
They
them.
You know, I guess most of the budget was tied up in.
It was,
like,
I mean, CGI has always been, but it was even more probably expensive, kind of per effect back then.
the Marcus Wolf explosion scene probably cost them all of their money.
That felt like something you could have just found, though. Like, it didn't feel like custom footage. Like, I feel like you could have just found that from somewhere.
What, the exploding car?
Just rolling.
You could have
exploding
borrowed it
Jeep.
from Toonces the Driving Cat. They would have happily loaned it out to him, I'm sure.
Because it wasn't. It was very zoomed out. The truck's just Jeep just rolling and it's on fire. Like you could have pulled that. I mean, yeah. It. Boy.
Okay, and the flood looked rough.
Oh,
The best part is that dude in, like, I guess it's Times Square maybe or something. He's decided to have himself a good read as this giant tidal wave, and like they decide, like, even though they don't have the budget, like let's see the effects on a man sitting when the wave hits, and that dude, it just goes. It's like these glasses.
It looks like if you'd done something in like an Adobe Animator thing, and you took a still image of a figure and just slid it across the screen really fast. He just literally without physics or anything, just moves off screen.
It's awful. It's awful, man.
It's hilarious. It is pretty great. I
Oh,
laugh really hard, which maybe I'm supposed. It also feels like one of those things they went back and added later, like after the DVD release. Like now that it's digital, they're like, all right, we're gonna spice this up a bit.
I mean, we rewound that a few times.
It's great. It's one of my favorite parts of the movie. I've noticed it many times before, and I love it every time.
Okay. I have my other bottom of the barrel on this is.
So is it Lily Sobieski? I can't pronounce her name, but
You got what? Little Helen Hunt.
Yeah. She wants to die, I think. Like, I'm pretty sure she wants to die. Like, multiple occasions, she has an opportunity to live, and she's like, no, I want to die. Like,
Most of this movie is people trying to get themselves killed who aren't the president. Like, Morgan Freeman's like, I'm
I
going to
wanna
live,
live.
damn it. Like, he's going to make it, but everybody else is just like Jack Nicholson. Yes, bring me the comet. Yes. Even the astronauts are like, hey, man. You know
they're
what?
all, except for the Russian, like, he is not okay with
Maybe-
I mean, clearly Robert Duvall's on a suicide mission, and they're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
okay, we get it. But, like, the poor Russian's like, whoa, I didn't sign up for this
He
shit.
basically is like, you drop me off first, maybe. Like, he's like,
Because
man.
when they all was like, and then I can't remember her name. She's had like some USA shows, and
yeah.
she's like McCormick, I think. is her name?
Yes, yeah.
She
She says
says,
West Wing for a bit.
Well, we all have high school's name. Like, are y'all really just taking this that
Right.
well? Like,
Blair Underwood is just got to look. He's dumbfounded. Like his
Like,
face
we're
is
doing
just
what?
like he's like, I can't process this. Duvall's like, yeah. Oh hell yeah, we're gonna steer that ship right into that
I'm gonna
comet.
get that guy.
We don't think it's gonna work. We're doing it. Yeah, cool. It does work. But so I've got some things written down about.
Maybe that should have like something similar should have been their original plan. I mean, look, I understand. Yes, there is like I know I'm not an expert. Like, there's outgassing that happens, and then again, that feature plays a part in
Well-
Armageddon. That's how they land.
You could guide what they basically turned.
But
themselves
also-
into.
How many nukes did we? Is the second failed attempt after the failed drilling attempt? There was like we fired a billion nukes at this thing, and like
every
there was, like,
nuclear
no-
weapon on the planet
I'm
is
not sure that it would have no effect. I mean, this thing is moving. It's
Yeah.
a body of significant mass in space, moving at very high speed. But like, boy, if you're gonna do that, like, I don't know. It's just it didn't work.
It didn't work, and
Okay.
I'm headed to Missouri. Peace out and good luck. So, so like, it's just weird too. Like, so he gets impeached, right? I mean, There's got to
I
be
mean, if they've
investigations.
made as much
and
progress
hearings.
rebuilding, I think he's been elected to like a third term, just maybe like 10 years later.
I am much more interested in the movie about the scandal
And the keyboard
and
guy.
the mismanagement and the keyboard. I'll get to that. All right.
But okay, so I just want to say Elijah Wood, he has just so little charisma in this
He's just
film.
useless.
And I actually I've seen like small little things here and there, like more recently. He's gotten definitely better as an actor. But this was maybe he probably was like, there was like a year gap maybe between filming this and when they started filming all the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Because if you remember, that first one came out in 2001.
Yeah.
And they did a big, huge shoot of all three all at once. They probably started filming in, 99, 2000? I mean, probably 99. So, this was right before he was Frodo. And it's weird. It doesn't feel like it at all, right?
It's Frodo because it's a Hobbit.
Right, what
but
year was this released?
99, I believe.
So, yeah, I mean, The Fellowship of the Ring, I'm pretty sure it came out in 2001. So, it's hard to believe that this was very near Frodo,
yeah.
Elijah Wood. So, I just thought that was something interesting I was thinking about. Watching, wow, he
Just don't.
I mean, again, it's just
Elijah
the whole
Wood,
movie's
just
crap, so
please.
whatever. But, there's something fun. There was a Chernobyl joke at one point.
Yeah. Chernobyl. So funny. Yeah, the humor is damn near every joke hits an off-key note. It's not funny. Anyway, so yeah, I had science. We already talked about that. What's that?
Probably the only thing that I thought was kind of a fun little moment, a character moment, was between Robert Duvall's character and the commander, the blinded. When he's talking to him, he's like, "Why do they call you Fish?" And he's like, "His name is like Sturgeon or Spurgeon.
Spurgeon.
His last name's Spurgeon. He's like Spurgeon, Sturgeon. It took about 15 minutes at the academy." And I actually thought that was kind of a fun little moment between two characters because you don't get many of those in this film.
No,
two characters interacting, and it's so that was good.
And the dude's like, "Oh, I see that now." Kidding. I'm fucking blind.
He should have said that.
That would have been funny. So here's a commentary from a scientist about nukes and asteroids. We love our nukes. Again, I'm bringing this up because bottom of the barrel science. We love our nukes and somehow think they'd be the solution to everything. But even carting the entire planetary nuclear stockpile into space in an asteroid-destroying nuclear disarmament anti-apocalypse double play can't overcome the basic physics of momentum. Sure, we might be able to break pieces off, but that just means we have more pieces to slam into the planet and directly squash people instead of indirectly kill them through global firestorms, ejecta, love that word, dust in the upper atmosphere, and the resulting climate chill. If we actually want to save our planet, we're going to need a lot more warning and a lot more lead time to slowly alter its orbit through gravity tugs, imbalanced solar pressure, embedded rockets, or a million other ideas that are currently more fiction than fact. Blowing shit up will just add to our problem.
So that makes it.
But
Again, I wasn't sure. I was like, it seemed like just shooting a bunch of nukes probably wouldn't do anything. What's interesting is they even say we have to wait till the comet's really close to do this because our nukes, missiles, ICBMs are not meant to travel or for space travel. So I was also wondering, if you're doing that close and it's that many nukes that were sent, would there be an impact to far orbit, like pretty high orbit satellites and things that are around there?
Like EMPs? Knocking them out?
I don't know. I'm just, again, it seems like
either.
a very haphazard. And this guy points to something I've seen things people it's actually much more, if you want to do it, you would have to catch it way out and you can do it very little. It's like a slow motion where you do a solar. You just need to change its trajectory just a little bit. Yeah. Just so that it just skids off the atmosphere or farther away, whether it's through a solar cell or projecting, energy at it, laser, because light coming at something has momentum and that transfers.
None
energy.
of the riders want to hear what you're saying right now.
But again, we clearly, as this person was out, there's a theme through this. So we want to blow some shit up.
Nukes, man. That's how we solve problems. Okay, I'm gonna move on from that.
Gravity tug? That's an imbalanced solar pressure. There's some cool stuff there.
There's some cool stuff that's maybe not.
I want to see that movie.
Let's watch a movie where it's it's just 3 weeks of them slowly tugging the that ain't no fun.
Comedy. It should be a comedy.
Might I propose lasers?
Yeah, a laser. Yeah,
I propose lasers,
but not to blow it up. Actually, just to create it's kind of the whole thing with like a solar cell. Like you let the photons create energy and move things.
This is a
over time.
comedy podcast. I need you to stop.
Okay, yeah, but like I think a comedy would be a good setting for one of these very slow moving solutions.
No.
All right, so what's
that would
next?
be hilarious. Okay, I'm going to skip through those two. I want to move on to the "You're Too Good for This" category. It's our second to last category.
And it's just one.
Yeah, Robert Duvall. Morgan Freeman is not too good for this.
We know
Don't let
this.
Shawshank get you
I
twisted.
mean, we've
man. He'll do anything.
Lucky Number 11.
Oh,
What else? I mean, that's just the first thing that popped.
what was
in.
the movie with the
the
Professor
magic,
X?
the magic movie, the magicians.
Oh, the magician.
both of them.
Oh gosh.
Now You See Me.
Now you see me.
I mean, he's in both of them.
He'll do anything.
He will literally. I mean, he can be great. He can be. He's actually usually good, but he doesn't care if the
He was a
movie's-
good president, like right up until he was like.
He just doesn't care if the movie's good.
No.
He'll just do it, which is fine. I don't blame him. Do it.
All right. So Robert Duvall is the only one I have that you're too good for this. And he knew that. So shame on
And
him.
he's doing his Duval thing.
Yeah.
Fine.
Okay. Our final category. What could fix this?
Armageddon.
Armageddon.
This
Yeah. So I was going to say Aerosmith, crying
Yeah,
Ben Affleck, Bruce Willis, a training
A cool
montage.
training montage with like some ZZ Top,
Yeah.
and, which they do that pretty sure. Not in this movie. Not in this movie.
had no story involving the media. Like,
Some great scenes of people saying like, "Oh, worst fireman imaginable." Like we didn't get it. Yeah, it's
it's a family drama, man, with a little asteroid
bad
mixed
one.
in.
Yeah.
Even the last 20 minutes, most of it
the
is like
title meant to be more like metaphysical or philosophical.
impact. Yeah,
It's a deep.
it's a deep impact.
I
I mean,
don't know, like-
the most of the last of the movie is these doomed astronauts talking to their family, and it's just like, let's just get on with it. But yeah, leave the media like this is the same era. Like the thing I noticed before that was the era of action movies going after psychologists. Like the psychologists were always jackasses. Like, and
Die Hard and Lethal Weapon both did it.
oh yeah, they used to.
The same,
Yeah.
the same act. The woman is the psychologist. Was
Yeah.
she a psychologist? No, she was a reporter in one and a psychologist.
Riggs is unhinged.
Yeah, she was the psychologist.
You don't want to be anywhere near him when he goes, which is maybe good advice.
And I think she
Uh,
interviewed a psychologist in Die Hard.
Yeah, she did.
So it's
And
fun.
she said, "I used to be one of you." What else you got besides Ben Affleck in a training montage?
I mean, you like no, none of the media, none of this, the sex scandal story. My God, it took up so much of the film. Like that's got to go.
So
Like
bad.
cut that.
So bad.
I wouldn't have had much of the Elijah Wood storyline.
Didn't need
It
it.
was just completely a waste. It was such a waste of time.
The idea.
You literally could have cut to, some high schooler saw this in a school astronomy event. Like boom, and now you're moving.
We're constantly scanning the skies. Frodo Baggins is not going to be one of the first people to notice this. It's ridiculous.
I would have played out. I would have had much more of a something that would have been different from Armageddon. I would have had some cool like plot or something insidious going on with this evacuation zone or these caves. I would maybe have some stuff going on
They
there.
didn't want to make it real. They didn't want to get too real because this was a very clean oncoming apocalypse.
Yes. And definitely much more of the space. I mean, you've got to spend more time. Like you've got to cast better
But do
people
you-
to be the astronauts.
Right, because I actually don't want to spend any more time with that. Well, that
Think
bunch of
about the
jackasses.
cast from Armageddon. I mean, you've got a ton of notable
Owen
actors.
Wilson's in it for 5 minutes. Right? Steve Buscemi. It's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. So here is my alternative way the film could have gone. And I would have had this directed by David Fincher. And I would have had Steve Zalian. His name is Steve Zalian. And you may be like, who? As the writer, let me tell you what he's written. Falcon and the Snowman, Searching for Bobby Fischer, Clear and Present Danger, Mission Impossible, Hannibal, Gangs of New York, The Interpreter, All the King's Men, American Gangster, Moneyball, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo,
Okay.
The Irishman. No, you will let me finish.
get
And
it.
Deepwater. So he is writing it.
Prolific.
David
yeah.
Fincher is directing it. Here we go. The main fork really starts at the chopper. Jenny does not give up her seat to Beth. She takes that chopper. Now we follow Beth and her daughter. They steal Keyboard Guy's car and drive to safety. The asteroid wins, and we get to see Beth and her child hunted down in a post-apocalyptic world by Keyboard Guy, who survived by riding his keyboard on the tidal wave to safety. And he is furious that his keyboard is now dead. He is mad with rage. Beth is eventually killed, but her child is saved by Marcus Wolf, who we find out survived the car explosion by shielding his face with a thermal pizza bag. He has been wandering the wilderness ever since. He views saving the little girl as his redemption for not saving the planet.
Wow. Amazing.
Think The Road, but with more laughs.
So probably no space element, really.
Because they can't afford
Which is
space,
okay.
so they can't have it. They
So
can't have
really
nice things.
It wasn't really a movie that gave a shit about the space element and,
No.
the activity of astronauts. So I'm fine with that.
Yeah. That's it. That's my pitch.
I love it.
David Fincher, bumping soundtrack, thriller, it's dark.
You're setting it in a cool, the setting is this apocalyptic event. It actually. So you're saying it would happen at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like the impact.
We're gonna cut a lot. We're just gonna get right to Jenny. We're gonna cut a lot at the beginning. So
love it.
all right, that's all I got.
That's all I got. Go
All
watch it. I mean, it deserves to be watched
It
for
deserves
sure.
to be watched.
But for the right reason, is that it's terrible, and we appreciate that.
We appreciate for its awfulness. All right, thanks everybody.
Peace.
Having a booze.